Hello, welcome to Flower Juice. My name is John McDonald, and today we're going to make an arrangement using Agra-wool, which is a new product that, for all it's called a wool, it's really like a basalt rock compound that's basically spun rock with like a glucose to bind it all together. So this is an alternative that you can use compared to, say, floral foam, for example, for making flower arrangements. It's used basically in kind of food production. So in large glass houses where they grow tomatoes, for example, they might use this as a medium for the plants. It's now been basically trialled and sold to florists as an alternative to floral foam. So floral foam contains basically microplastics is what it will break down to. Whereas this, for all it is a process that is done with a rock, and it's not exactly environmentally friendly, it is a natural product that will be compostable in small amounts. You wouldn't want to just put one big amount of it into your compost bin, but you can put it out with natural waste and it's not going to be a big issue. So I've got this beautiful dish that I found at the wholesalers, and what I've done is I've just filled it with Agra-wool and soaked it, and it really does hold a lot of water, and it takes the water very, very quickly. I must admit, I was very amazed when I first saw that. So our flowers that we've got a little bit of solidago, some nice cymbidium orchids, I've got some aspidistra, some gerbera, and some beautiful anthuriums, and I just thought these would be perfect with this dish. This dish to me is just a lovely colour, a lovely shape, and we can make a big arrangement that is a bit like a buffet arrangement or a sideboard arrangement, something that's a little bit different. So I'm looking really to see this flower and see where I best want it to be. And again, you just, like you would use with floral foam, you just cut on an angle and put it into the base. With the Agra-wool though, it does have layers. So if I use it like this, it'll be very easy coming into the layers here, but it'll be less easy coming into the layers from this angle. So there is a difference in how you would work and how you will feel it working compared to floral foam. But if you're really wanting to make a change and get away from the potential microplastics, then this is an option for you. I do have these wonderful palm leaves, and what you can do is you can cut them down and make them into interesting shapes. So all you need is sharp scissors and just cut them into the shape that you want. Which, to me, this is very much like the ones you used to get that were dried, but there's no reason why you couldn't cut it and make it square, for example. Could be quite interesting. In fact, that is quite interesting. So we can have different shapes and get different effects. I must admit, I'm really liking the square, so I think what we'll do is we'll just square these off. And go with that idea. Now the great thing with these palm leaves is that they'll dry as well, so for all you're buying them, putting them into your design, it's not a waste in a sense, because ultimately you're going to be able to reuse it. But straight away, isn't that fun? Just the fact that we've got those shapes. It really makes something that's a little bit of an eye-catching detail that you won't expect to see. And it wasn't a big thing to do. So let's just, I'm saying square, they're not quite square, but they're squarish, which is good enough. You could probably use like a craft knife or something if you really wanted to get it very, very, very accurate. So I think we'll come down into here as well. Now, another product that I've got is this reindeer moss. And the Agra-wool's not unattractive, but it's not totally attractive. So what we'll do is we'll use this really as a base for our arrangement. This means that we don't need to use a huge amount of foliage unless we want to, because we're hiding our base with a decorative element anyway. And we can take that right into the corners is good. The thing is, this is a little bit messy. But again, we can just pop that in there. So, I wish this would not turn around. Straight away, we've got something that's quite eye-catching without actually adding a huge amount of product or a huge amount of materials. And we're going to have a little look at how we're going to place our orchids. So I want to bring one in here, and then we've got our little yellow one that we're going to bring here. And I do have one little one that can just slip into there. So we're adding a real focal point, a real highlight area with our nice orchids. And for our solidago, we can change the form and go up high, a little bit like a parasol actually. Is quite cute. And we'll put one here. So in a way, what we're making is like a little landscape with our little buildings, our little mountains, our little trees. It feels like something, but we're not quite sure what, but it gives it a different approach to making an arrangement. Now, I do have these gerberas, and I don't want to necessarily put them in the same way. What would have been quite interesting is putting one in as if it's the sun, but then my longest one, yep, that would work. I didn't want this to be on the same level as our solidago. I want it to be sitting higher up. And it's probably better if this actually sits further back. So if we do that, now, as you can see, the Agra-wool's not holding things just quite the way that floral foam would, but that's okay, we can work with it. The other thing you can do with the Agra-wool, which I have done, is don't throw it out after one use. You can keep it and use it to create other designs. So you can break it up and put it into containers where you would normally struggle to find how to get that in. I think we'll just have a little bit back there. Now, with this aspidistra, I'm just wanting to put it in the back as a bit of a feature, a little contrast again to the shapes that we had. And I really like the stripe that it had in there. So let's just have a wee check, see what we think. We've got nice orchids, we've got our anthuriums going up. What might be interesting is that we just bring an anthurium to the front, and this will stop the whole thing from looking flat or a little bit two-dimensional. And there we go. We've got an interesting arrangement with some interesting materials using an interesting type of mechanic for holding our flowers. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. This would be a perfect arrangement for maybe going in your home or in your hallway as you come home, and something different, which I hope you found was a little bit fun as well. So thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then click here to subscribe, and please share the video with your friends and brighten up their day. So we've new videos every week. We hope you join us for our next video.